Hey legends, welcome back to another episode of It's a Football Thing. As always, I'm your host, a balanced blue RJ, joined by my fellow co-host and champion mates. It feels like it's been a little while because it has been. Scott the Gooner, Rob the Red Devil. We got the band back together. Rob, how you going, my man?
Yeah, good man. A bit of a depressing week with not a lot of football, not Premier League football anyway. I just say to myself, how did we get through COVID, mate? I couldn't have lasted a week without Premier League. I don't know how we went months without in that time of the year when the pandemic hit. But look, boys, I'm happy to be back and talking some football for the weekend. Unfortunately, a couple of our teams aren't be playing, but we'll see. We'll continue on. The show must go on.
The show must go on indeed, Mr. Borg. Arsenal clinging on to top spot. We don't know how long they're going to be the champions for, but talk me through how you're feeling, mate.
Yeah, doing well, mate. It's nice to be back with the boys. Always good to have some family time as well. I don't mind stepping away every now and then, but it's always a great buzz to be back. So always a pleasure, boys. Always a pleasure with you both.
Beautiful, beautiful. And speaking of having the pleasure of good company, we've already got some good company in a live chat, but just to set the scene with what we're covering tonight, obviously going to go through a bit of that fixture rescheduling, go through some of the EPL preview coming up for the weekend, unpack some of the European results, some non-magical performances from some of our clubs, and just to go through some controversial statements made by some controversial new owners in the Premier League, because that's some really big talking points. So, Scott, why don't we open it up?
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's start by saying hello to, we got Tom here from the United Pubcast, evening champion. Another week off football for you, but the Europa is coming. We got Justin here. We got Borche from the football capital, and we have the man, the myth, the legend declared. Welcome, gentlemen. Welcome. Make sure you smash that like button. Emad's in here. I know he's going to smash the like button. He always does. And if you're watching this back on repeat, we want you to comment about the All-Star match below. Good idea? Bad idea? What do you think? Let us know in the comments section. Boys, let's start with some European action now. Europe's premier competition hasn't played. That's coming. Not for us, but it is Manchester United. But your team, Harry Potter's boys, kicked off and far from magical. RJ, I saw you on Twitter spouting your usual nonsense. It was positive. It was lovely. We were brilliant. Everyone held hands and sung songs.
Hey, hang on. I didn't say
mate,
that.
You didn't win.
Come on, mate.
You didn't win.
Come
on.
Tell the true story, mate, not the Arsenal story. Come on.
Where's the new manager bounce? Come on.
You know what? No, it's good. No, fair point, man. And I was fortunate enough to jump on for an instant match reaction with the London is Blue cruise. So go check it out if you haven't. But look, let's call it how it is. I thought the way they played was, generally speaking, performance was very, very sharp. The passing was slick. There was a lot of movement. I really enjoyed the interplay between Mason, Kai, Raheem Sterling. It was a bit of a different formation. I know that I don't want to get too caught up on that because it was quite movement throughout. So it wasn't really fixed 4-2-3-1 or 3-4-2-1. They kept changing it. I think I was a little bit surprised with some of the personnel, like club captain Azpilicueta. As much as I respect the bloke, I think he's lost a pace or two, and I think now we've got to really start looking forward. So I'm hoping that people like Hakim Ziyech, g'day, Matt, there, good to see you, my man. I think Graham Potter's really got to establish who he really trusts and not just goes for the loyalty card for some of these players, because there were some that were trying a lot harder than others. But overall, man, look, really nice goal, Raheem Sterling. That was one of the positives. A really slick finish, nice little bit of build-up. Very sloppy goal from the way we conceded possession to Thiago Silva, who's usually flawless, made a really hasty decision to not just clear the ball. He tried to be a bit cute and try to hook it and get the ball back. And yeah, Azpilicueta and Kepa both could have done better, and that's the way it goes sometimes. So, look, Potter, I thought solid debut. Thomas Tuchel, we won the Champions League and he drew 0-0 with Wolves. So, hey, I'm not going to overcook this one, but unfortunately it wasn't the magical debut I was looking for.
Yeah, look, no point being too reactionary. He hasn't had enough time yet. So in all fairness, I'm sure this isn't the best that Graham Potter has to offer, but it's going to take him a bit of time to get his combinations right. Robbie, you are our European football correspondent. You are the man who will binge the most of this European football. What results or matches stood out for you, mate?
Oh, look, man, I think obviously the game of the day, well, the highlight game of the day, I'd say would have been City versus Dortmund on paper anyway, and it was pretty decent. It was pretty quiet on up until just after half time, and against the run of play, Dortmund again, they always seem to get that first goal, and they were in Manchester today, so that was a bit of an eye opener. But the guy that scored at Bellingham, I absolutely love this kid. Number one, I just want to say that I've been talking him up since he started. And he's such a young talent, man. Whoever picks this guy up, because he will return to the Premier League one day. Whoever gets him is going to buy a gym, man. I'm telling you. But look, City got back with two amazing goals. I have to say, I don't know which one. I'm still trying to pick which one was better. Oh, look, you have to say for a centre back, that was a bullet rocket shot from the edge of the box for the equaliser. And then, geez, man, Haaland, mate. The guy can't stop scoring goals, and very, very Ibrahimovic-like goal, man. I do have to say a little bit of salt. A couple of years ago, Ibra did score a goal like that in the Premier League, and it got chalked off for a high foot. But look, I'm glad they didn't take this away because I thought it was a class finish, man. And he's just a goal scoring machine at the moment. No matter which competition, he's delivering on all. So really good goal. And then another big 3 points for Man City.
What about Benfica, Robbie? Tell me, man, how do you feel?
I was going. No, look, I don't feel anything because again, it's. I'm not really. It wasn't a surprise shock, if I'm going to be honest with you. And I think that Juve could be, I think they could be on the edge of Europa League football come February. And tongue in cheek, maybe Chelsea as well. But no, look, as I've said this year, with Juventus, honestly, in both in their league and in the Champions League, I do not think they're going to go very far. And look, there's going to be excuses along the way. I think Allegri, his time's up. I don't see him lasting very long. His football is shocking. It's very very old school. He's not with the new kind of the way everyone's playing now. It's very boring. It's very sit back and for the players he's got. But we do have a lot of injuries. Pogba, since he signed, hasn't played a game. Di Maria, he's been out. He came off the bench today just from return. Obviously, Chiesa, our Italian star boy, hasn't got a run this season yet. So there's still 3 or 4 really key players in that team that haven't really come in yet. And I think the season's going to be too far gone on both fronts for when they do return. So, they could be meeting United, possibly in Arsenal in the Europa League. Who else was there?
What about also actually Liverpool? Liverpool, too late winner against Ajax. Yes, I thought Ajax were a little bit hard done by not to walk away with a well-earned point. But Liverpool, to their credit, trying to be fair, rediscovered some of that old resilience. So hopefully that doesn't act as a springboard, but it was a very good win and very important 3 points for Liverpool.
I know. I wouldn't say they're finished. I wouldn't say finished yet. They're certainly in the mud at the moment. Man, I don't know. I just think saying they're finished now, you need some serious cojones because you could look seriously silly.
It's a tongue-in-cheek comment there, mate. Tongue-in-cheek.
Absolutely. Ange Postecoglou's boys, Celtic, very unlucky against Shakhtar. That's
a big result over there. That's a big result in Ukraine.
I think Ange would be upset. They had 6 shots off target, 8 shots on. Shakhtar only had 2 shots on target. They had 53% of the possession. 19 crosses into the box. All the stats were kind of in their favour, but they just couldn't find that winner. So a good result, but I'm sure Ange would have preferred all 3 points. But good to see Celtic repping as well. Now, boys.
Yeah, Scott, but hang on. Just on the Champions League, let's pay respect to Pessi.
Yeah, I was coming to
call it how it is. Oh, what for? Well, he did set another record, scored the most against all opposition, 39. It was not a very good opponent, but another assist, another goal. Let's take a moment to appreciate him because he was having a bit of a decline season last year, but he seems to have rediscovered himself. So I just wanted to call that out there because he deserves to get recognised when he does play well. So just calling it out.
Look, two more quick ones, boys, because the Spurs boys, we have to remind the Spurs boys that they did lose yesterday as well, 2-0 Sporting. Wait, to concede 2 goals in the 90th minute, mate. And look, Sporting deserved all 3 points. Very Spursy. And look, the match of the round yesterday, Bayern versus Barca.
What a game.
I do have to say, probably the game of the round. And look, at halftime, this was, I have to say, Barcelona should have put a few goals away to be up. As soon as Bayern second half got that early goal, look, the game looked finished from there. I only finished 2-0, but Barcelona did look nice in that first half. But typical Bayern, mate. I think in their last 5 games, it's 18-2 aggregate now. So they just love playing Barcelona.
But they're a threat, Barcelona. Make no mistake. They are a tough team.
If they can get the glue and put that together for a full performance, I was like, wow, that first half performance really impressed me.
All right, boys, let's move on. We, of course, coming up are going to be discussing, potentially debating. We actually didn't talk about this before the stream, so I have no idea where these boys stand on the All-Star debate. But before we do get to the All-Star debate, just some domestic cup action as well. Obviously, repping tonight. Got the Macarthur scarf ready. It's a little bit chilly, boys. An excellent semi-final result last night against Oakley Cannons. It was tense. It wasn't easy in the first half, but come the second half, the class, yeah, there we go, RJ. He's ready too, mate. The class just kicked in. Daniel Arzani with minutes, confidence, and thank God no injuries at the moment. Looking good. He was a cut above. And they were playing lower league opposition, but we saw what Oakley could do to Sydney FC the other week. So congratulations to Macarthur. A big final for them. A big final in only their second year. So I know I'm certainly looking forward to that. A little bit of history too, boys. I'll get your thoughts on this. 14-year-old goalkeeper. I'm not going to pronounce it right, but I'm going to try. Yamir Abili. It was nice. It was nice. Seeing this 14-year-old kid come on in the cup, it was special. It was special. RJ, give me some of your thoughts, man. I know you're a fellow Bulls fan.
That's it, mate. The Bulls are horny at the moment. They're hornying all over the place, mighty Bulls. But I tell you what, would they have put him on, that young superstar goalkeeper, if it was a 2-2? It would have been interesting. Or was that just a bit of the results out the window? Let's have a little bit of fun here. But great touch nonetheless. Dwight York, good shout here, Tom. I think he's come in and done a really good job in terms of imprinting his identity amongst the team. It's only early days, of course, but we watched them live the other week, and honestly, the way that they're knocking the ball around, they're really dominating the opposition, and they were really strong against Oakley last night. That second half, it was end up 5-2 in the end, but they could have scored another 3-4 goals. Like, they were just in red-hot form. And the captain, Davila, what a player he's been. The adversity that guy's had to go through, he's just all over the place in the middle. So, yeah, top performance by the Bulls. I'm looking forward to this season.
Absolutely. And, Robbie, I know you watched the Sydney United match. I'll tell you what, wherever they play this final, mate, it is going to be a seriously good atmosphere. You know, 100%. One thing about the Croatian community, mate, they get behind their teams, their culture. It's absolutely going to go mental. What are your thoughts on this final, Rob?
Oh, look, I'm excited. Obviously, I've been following the Sydney United boys throughout their little cup run, and yeah, look, I was wrapped. I obviously watched the game on Sunday, and I have to say, what an entertaining game. And for first NPL club ever to reach a final, which is massive in itself. And it's just nice look, it's not a thing, but a club, you know, an old school club with a history, with Australian football history. It's a very good club who's traditional, produced a lot of players that have gone on and actually done something for the national team and moved on to big clubs. So happy for them. But obviously the Croatian community was, you know, there was a packed stadium there, King Tom on the weekend. And what can we ask for, man? Pretty much a Sydney derby final. Like wherever they've got the date, the time, they're just waiting for the venue. But look, if it's a good time, I think it's on a long weekend. I'm definitely keen to go, and I'll be definitely cheering on the Sydney United boys. Great final.
But can I just say, how good is it? We're football lovers here. We're all football fans. That's why we're here. How good is it to see local suburban grounds with only a relatively small number of fans, but it's packed out. There's a community. There's a buzz. The fans are running on the field celebrating. That's the stuff dreams are made of, boys. I just love seeing it.
Oh, look, just quickly, there's no better feeling. I went the week before, I went and watched an NPL 2 final at the same ground at King Tom, and Look, mate, there's nothing better watching proper football. Like everyone was going in 50-50 tackles, great goals, and like going to halftime, having a trophy at halftime. Just I love the culture. I love everyone, getting up for it, giving it the ref heaps. It's really good to watch a game like that. And I really think this will be a great game in the final.
It's a football thing, boys. It's a football thing. We'll have more to come on that. But for now, we are going to move on. Arash is here. We did cover the Champions League. You might have to rewind a touch. But we are about to talk about the All-Stars match. Now, this has come from my new most disliked owner in all of world sports, Todd Bowley. There's something about this bloke, RJ, and it's not me being petty because I had no beef with him.
I'm out of here, boys. I've had enough of this anti-Bowley talk
already. I can't. And I'm going to go through, boys, before we share our views, because, again, we haven't talked about this. I don't know where you stand. But I just want to go through a couple of comments from the live chat already about this all-star concept that Todd Bowley's pitched as a moneymaker, literally to fund the pyramid, supposedly. Emad saying he feels like it's a trivial, meaningless game, and it's a terrible idea. There was another one down here I saw. Shano, plenty of love for Shano. What's next? We'll scrap one-off finals and have a best-of-7 series for the FA Cup. Keep American traditions in sports in America. Declared's with me. He wants Bowley to stop talking. Just own the club. Just be an owner. You're not anything more than that. Just own the team. Now, boys, I'll kick off. I think it's a disastrous idea. I hate the idea, and I'm normally the one who's a bit more open to tradition being thrown out the window. But you guys know I love the NBA. I'm a massive fan of the NBA. I watch almost as much NBA as football. The All-Star game in the NBA is a joke. I don't enjoy it. They don't play hard. They don't defend. It's literally just almost, for me, a waste of time. Chance of celebrities to come together and, chinwag and chuck a bit of money out. But I hate this idea. I just think that these players are already overworked enough. These clubs are pumping huge money into their players and their healthcare. Could you imagine losing your star player for a match that's there to fund the pyramid, losing them for a season? I would be livid. I can understand changing finals and things like that, but not this. There's just literally no purpose. No purpose to me. I hate it. What about you, Robbie?
It's not a football thing at all to me, mate. It's again, I hate when I've got no beef with American owners, even though I hate our Glazers, and I'm sure the Cronkies aren't far behind. But just don't Americanize football, okay? Keep it in your own backyard, and that's it, kind of thing. But I hate the idea of it. For much of what you said, man, it's just another game that the players don't need, another game that they're at risk. And yes, if it could make money, but I'm pretty sure there's a lot of other ideas before this that will come if they really wanted to chip in and make some money. So for me, keep it away. It's definitely not a football thing.
Before we go to Arj, I think this is a really smart point from Declared, and that's something I don't say often. Americans don't, and I don't think this is an American thing. I just think it's a stupid idea. Stupid ideas come from all countries. Like, there are plenty of stupid ideas out there, but we have national teams, and football is truly an intense international game with other tournaments like European Cups. So I don't think we need this. Whereas with the NBA, international basketball is growing and all of that, but it's still pretty exclusively American. So I don't know. I really like this point. I think this hits the nail on the head too. RJ, it's your owner. You're the balanced blue. Can you see anything to balance out Robbie's views?
No, I'm not a big fan of the concept, but I'm not as dramatic either in terms of hard right, straight no. I think, look, Matt, he made a mistake, man. Nobody said he's a football expert. I'm sure we've all said things that in hindsight you're going to get called out for. Yeah, at least he stuck his neck out in line. Like the 4-4-3, it's a blunder. I said on the show that time, 2 lungs instead of 3 lungs. Am I going to get hung for it? Yeah, it's out of context. But he also said a part of that was the intention was good. It was try to help for the football pyramid. And now when people like Mika Richards and Thierry Henry's like, oh, it's not European and, it's not going to work here, it's just that. But at the same time, yes, he hasn't had time to settle in as owner. He just took over a Premier League club and he made fun of the whole De Bruyne Salah thing. But the bigger picture's been missed here. This guy's come in, at least he's giving an idea. We've recognised for years that there's a problem with the football pyramid. The Championship and under get financially neglected relative to the Premier League. It might be a terrible idea. Yep, that's fine. Terrible idea. He's sticking his neck out on line and giving an idea. Where's all the other smart people that have been here for years with all their great ideas? You know what I mean? Like, I think there's an element of a bit more respect that needs to be shown. There is ignorance. There is ignorance from what Todd Bowley's saying, for sure. No doubt about it. But I'd rather people have a personality and come out there and throw something out on the table to dismiss it, not just sit in silence and say, oh, that's a terrible idea. Where's your great idea? So, yeah, look, it's very American. I'm not a big fan of it. We've got the NRL All-Stars. For those that don't know what that is, that's the rugby league version of the All-Stars here. And on paper, as a fan, it's a great idea. You see the best of the best. But in practice, what happens is they end up picking their tier 2, tier 3 players, and you end up having a very non-competitive, not as exciting game because it's not the best of the best. It's the rest versus the rest, essentially. And I think on paper, it would be a fun concept, in my opinion, to see a North versus South thing or whatever it was, like they threw North versus South. But the reality is the clubs won't agree to it because of player injuries. And Scott, you brought up a point. Imagine if someone got injured for a long term for a meaningless game, it could cause a lot of damage. But I suppose the counter view is what happens if a player gets injured playing a friendly for a country? I know it's a national thing, but it's still a meaningless game because it's a friendly. But I agree. Look, it's a terrible idea overall. But what I would qualify that with is, boys, apart from being respectful to opinions, I would just love to hear more about them talking about it in a bit more detail. And Klopp, when he came out and said, oh, find me some time in the calendar because American sport has 4 months off a year, spot on, Klopp, in the sense of the fixture congestion is unbearable. But what I'm saying is if they could somehow figure out a way that it did work, what I'm saying is I'd be more open to listening to how it could work rather than just red pen it. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, well, look, currently, Robbie, you're on mute, mate. You're on mute. But before you get that thought out, I did pop a poll in the chat asking what people's thoughts are. 75% think it's a ridiculous idea. 12% saying it's exciting, 12% undecided. So it's a strong no. I think as well with Bowley, before we go to Rob, it's just the timing. I understand we want ideas, but I don't want ideas from Todd Bowley. I want ideas from your pundits, people who have won stuff. I don't want ideas from some guy who's just bought in and already seems to be trying to make it all about himself. We've seen that with the Thomas Tuchel sacking as well. Like, I don't know. Do
you think that's about himself, Scott, or do you think that's just him that spent a lot of money trying to put something into place to return their investment? Like, I know what you're saying. He's making a lot of attention, but I don't know. I think he's sometimes a little bit misunderstood. That's all.
Feel like me buying a gym and sacking all the personal trainers because I have enough money to buy the gym. I've got no idea how to run a gym. He doesn't know anything about
what if your gym staff were swearing at everybody and just didn't believe in the same values?
Mate, they motivate him. But Robbie, Robbie, I cut you off. I cut you off before because you were on mute. What did you want to add?
Well, look, just a quick fire. If this was a Premier League All-Stars versus, say, Serie A All-Stars, again for the same kind of concept to fund a pyramid, would you be more for that or just a straight no in all kind of All-Star games?
I'd be more open to that, but I still don't like it.
Yeah, it was just a quick fire.
Honestly, I think as a fan, it's just natural to want to see the best versus the best, but we're thinking practically it just doesn't make sense. That's why I think we all think it's a bad idea. So, yeah.
Yeah, all good.
Boys, good point, Tom. Good point.
Let's, just as I put that comment from Declared up, let's do this as a midstream quick fire because we've got some fixtures to predict as well. I'm going to show you Sky Sports' proposed North and South teams. I'll give you a few seconds just to have a look, and then I want you to tell me which one of those teams you think would win. Okay, so I'm going to show you both live chat. You play along as well. I was going to look at Optus Sports teams, but they legit, when I saw that they had Mendy in goals, I knew that they were having a laugh.
Shut the gates. They were going to win, guaranteed. That's right.
This is the North team. Just have a quick look, live chat. You play along. Who wins this match, North or South? This is North. Fair to see how anyone's going to beat them. Have you both had a look, boys? Can I go to the South?
Yep. Go for the South.
All right. Let's go to the dirty South. Have a good look at that, boys. North or South?
I think easily North.
You have a laugh about Optus putting Mendy. Are we having a laugh about how, if this is on form, how does Ronaldo get in there? Seriously. Like, give me a break.
They put All-Star in there, but yeah, look,
Well,
take Ronaldo out. I still think that North would win, honestly.
Okay, what about you, RJ? North or South?
Well, if Alexander Arnold's playing, then we know where to attack. So,
well,
to
true.
be honest,
But I think there's more goals in the North team as well.
It is a tough looking team, but I think we're more defensively sound and probably more sturdy in the middle. I'd say, like the South, I think has got a little bit more meat and firepower in the middle, but the attack is better, I think, in the North at the moment. Bar Ronaldo, of course.
Couple of comments from the live chat. Big club bias. North has Haaland, so it'd be the North.
Yeah.
Hard to argue with that. Tom saying he'd have Dallo in for Trent. Declared saying North. Shano doesn't even think South's that good. Well, look, I think they're okay.
And football, and Borche put up if no Ronaldo, no Salah, then and Salah hasn't been in great form either. I agree, but that's what I'm saying. Like, if it's on form, then some of these should be tweaked because obviously the South, to an extent, has been picked on form because Mason Mount has obviously been a great player overall relative to, like, Erdegaard, with all due respect, great player at the moment, but is he based
you watch
on
your
ceiling?
mouth, mate. Watch your mouth.
Oh, here we go.
My captain.
No, I think North's probably overall stronger.
Look at that midfield, but Rodri, Fernandes, and De Bruyne. That's a pretty sick midfield, man.
Which one doesn't belong out of those three?
Oh, well.
Fernandes ain't in that class, mate. He ain't in that class.
From the North. Who's replacing him?
I'd have John Joe Shelby in there, mate. Big John Joe. Or Joe Wood.
Here we go. The Portuguese Bruno anyway, so whatever.
Anyway, boys, we're all in agreement that we think North would take it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you're South.
If Mendy was playing, then it would be South. Put it that way.
Oh dear.
Moving on.
Boys, having a blast so far, but we have some fixtures to make some predictions for. But before we do that, Arsenal can't play PSV, but we can play Brentford. Two London teams.
I don't understand.
We've had some games called off, some games not. I'm completely at a loss. Now, I'm just going to put it on the table, I have no beef with fixtures being called off for the weekend. I think tradition, respect, it's the English Premier League, a monarch of, like, for so long. Most people have never known a world without her as queen, yeah? So I said this on Aussie Gooner's channel. I'm okay with there still being some tradition because I feel like these days we just chuck every bit of tradition we can out the window because it's all about me, and what I want. But I'm okay with fixtures being called off. What I'm not cool with is some being called off, some being played. You either call them all off or they're all on. I actually can't articulate why some teams are and some teams aren't playing and why we couldn't play PSV, but we can play another London team in Brentford. What are your thoughts, Robbie, on the fixture cancellations in the first place? Were you okay with it? And can you get your head around what's going on? Because I can't.
Yeah, look, definitely can't get my head around. Our game against Leeds is in the north, as north as you can nearly get. We got a cancellation because apparently there's not going to be enough security, which is fair enough. I do understand the Liverpool-Chelsea one a little bit more. Again, it's a London game, but you guys complain they can't. Don't understand that one. Obviously, it's a bigger game, more security again. I don't know why they couldn't have maybe, if they're going to cram fixtures in anyway, why they couldn't have maybe just, if put more games on like the Friday night or put more games on the Sunday or either side of where the games are playing now, just put more games on. I don't know why they couldn't have done that. Look, in my personal opinion, I'm all for respect and stuff like that. But look, the government came out and said it's pretty much up to you guys. So for them not to say, look, you guys have to shut down, there was an option there. And for me personally, I think it was the wrong option that they took, especially last week. I don't see why they had to do it last week. The cricket went on. I think the rugby league went on, and they all paid their respects, which I actually liked. The crowd all sung their national anthem. They had their black armbands. There was plenty of ways that the sports were paying their respects. So I think last week, definitely all of them should have continued. If anything, there was a postponement. It should have been this one, obviously with the funeral this weekend. Obviously, security is going to be a lot more tighter and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't understand how it's jam-packed. And I just don't know where all these games are going to fit in, even after the World Cup. Honestly, they've already got to be jamming in European competitions, cup competitions, the normal Premier League, fixtures that are getting postponed. Obviously, I just don't know where it's all going to fit. For me, they're going to have to extend the season maybe by another week or two. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah. I'm going to chuck to you in a sec, RJ. But look, if we got through COVID and all that lockdown, I think we can get through a couple of weeks
100%.
fixtures getting canned. But RJ, Robbie just said then he was a bit disappointed because the Premier League were told it's up to you if you want to postpone, and they did. Is this a little bit like that situation? And we're all married men, but we're all good-looking fellas, so we probably have dated. I know I have. Is it like when your girlfriend, wife, partner says to you, yeah, you do what you want. You do what you want. You want to go for that big night out for the boys? It's up to you. You do what you think's best. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. If you say, yep, I'm going out for the boys, she doesn't talk to you for 2 weeks, which isn't always the worst punishment. Or you stay home, you miss a top night for the boys. Is it a little bit of that, RJ, or do you think they got it right, wrong? Where are you at?
Yeah, it's a tough one, man. You don't look in your playbook and say, oh, what's the right course of action to do after 7-year monarchy just ends all of a sudden? Like, what's the best course of action here? But I don't know, man. I'm a traditional sort of guy. I think that what they did took a lot of integrity, a lot of respect. And I know someone will turn around and say, well, there's a number of ways you can show your respect. You didn't have to cancel the games, blah, blah, blah. A lot of people were put out. Their well-being was put out, their livelihoods, because some people depended on the income, etc. And that's what I genuinely feel sorry for those people. But again, just trying to be a little bit balanced. I do feel I respect the Premier League for taking that decision because they know they would have copped a lot of backlash. And like you said, Scott, we survived the pandemic and made it work. I just think it sucks as a fan because even like I was looking at our club's fixture list, nine games in October. 9. That's a lot of games to try to catch up and squeeze in. And you might get a little bit of a break, but try to play 9 times. That's every 3 days or so for 9 games in a month. So, yeah, man, I hope this is where squad utilization becomes so important.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a bit of a mess, boys, but you know what? Here it is, a football thing. It's our job to talk about it, look at it, predict it, laugh at each other, and get from there. So that's exactly what we're going to do because they don't pay us the big bucks to make the decisions. So we're not going to
Speak
lose
for yourself,
too much.
mate. They're paying Rob lots of money.
Yeah, that's it. He is the European football correspondent. He takes our budget.
That's right.
All right, let's start. Aston Villa. I hope the international fans, domestically can see those kickoff times. Disgusting. Look at that. And now to bet at 450 to watch Aston Villa host Southampton. Boys, what's happening in that one?
Jeez, Stevie J on the chopping block, huh? I'm gonna go for a draw in this one. I'm gonna go for a 1-1 draw. I still think Southampton have something in them.
Okay, all right. What 1-1 draw? Did you say?
Yeah, 1-1 draw. And just quickly, this is what I'm exactly saying. Why couldn't, say, in between these two, why couldn't there be another fixture on the Saturday? Why couldn't there be another fixture on the Sunday? Like those 2-3 games that are cancelled, I don't know why. I know they like to spread them out to like the Monday and all this. Doesn't matter if there's a couple games at the same time. They do that all the time on a Saturday over there when they do their 12 o'clock or whatever it is. When we get like midnight games, it's 5 at the same time. I don't understand why they couldn't have done numerous games at the same time to squeeze them all in.
I think, again, it comes back to that policing potentially, that the resources might be stretched thin and you can't put anything above safety. So, I mean, look, I don't know if that's the reason. I'm just making an assumption. I think, speaking of safety, that Stevie G will be safe another week because Aston Villa, I think, are going to take this 2-1, but only just. What about you, RJ?
Yeah, I'm torn. I do think they're there for the taking, the villains, but at home, they've had a little bit of a break now. I think they've had a bit of a refresh. I do think they'll just edge out the Saints, who can be very rocks and diamonds. So I'll go for non-confident 2-1.
Let's go straight back to you, RJ. Forest, Fulham.
Sure.
What's happening here, mate?
Yeah, a lot to like about Fulham at the moment. I know Forest had a good bounce back the other week, but I'm liking what Fulham are producing, our rivals. Yeah, I will tip them as well to take the 3 points. I think it'll be 2-1 as well to them.
Robbie?
Yeah, agree. 2-1 Fulham. Metro.
I'm going 2-0 to Fulham. I think they'll keep the clean sheet with Bern Leno in there. Costa is back. I'm sure everyone missed him. I did.
What an intro video. Did you see
Did
that
you see that intro video?
Wow.
With the
What
Wolves
a
and all,
great
man.
work they've done.
But a good signing for Wolves, who I think needed someone up front who can bang that goal into the net. I don't quite think he'll feature in this one, maybe off the bench, but again, it's too hard to bet on anyone but Manchester City. I think they'll beat Wolves. I'm going to go with 2-0. I think Pep might rotate that squad a touch. So 2-0 Man City. Rob?
Yeah, 3-0 Man City. Rotated or not, I still think they'll put them to the sword. And yeah, I can't believe this guy is like 32. I feel like he was 32 10 years ago when he won the Premier League with Chelsea or something. So yeah, crazy.
He's one of those werewolves that just don't
Yeah,
age. Or, just keep
100%.
playing. Exactly. I don't know, Scott. I think, and boys, both of you tipping pretty comfortable wins, but Wolves can make it difficult here. I'm inclined to sort of go for a bit of a shock result here.
Do it.
I might go a little bit bold, so to speak. I will tip a 1-1 draw.
God bless you, Robbie. That's 1 point. We'll go clear of him. Next one, Newcastle, Bournemouth. I don't know if Shano's still here, but we'd love to hear his tip on this one. Robbie, you start this, champ.
2-0 to the tune.
Beautiful. I'm with you, Rob. Make that 2 of us.
Let's make it a 3-peat. 2-0 to the tune.
All right, it's a threesome done. Tottenham hosting Leicester. Going to be an interesting one. Spurs will want to bounce back after that disappointing result. Well, not disappointing for us, but it was for them. I think they'll have too much for Leicester, who have just been dreadful. I'm going to go with Spurs to take this one 3-0. What about you, RJ?
Wow.
Yeah, I actually think we're talking about Gerrard. I think this could be the last game for Rodgers, to be honest.
Yeah.
Lock me in for a 2-0 to the Spurs.
And you, Robbie?
Yeah, Tottenham win. They haven't impressed me so far. A lot in the last few games. Again, the results, which is the important thing. But yeah, look, Leicester have been crap. So yeah, I'll go 2-0 as well.
Harry Kane's just come into my FPL team, so he better bang one in.
Change your tip, Rob, quick.
Yeah. All right, Brentford hosting Arsenal.
Go the bees, go the bees, go the bees.
Boys, I'm nervous. I am genuinely nervous about this.
I thought you'd be buzzing.
No, certainly not. I just keep seeing in my head what they did to Manchester United, and knowing that Manchester United beat us last time we played. I know it doesn't always work that way, but Brentford are not to be slept on. If Tony rocks up ready to play, and we know it's personal for him against Arsenal, he's got that little bit of history with us. he'll give us a hard time, and I think Brentford will give us a hard time. In saying that, of course, I'm always confident in my boys. I'm going to go with 3-2 to the Arsenal, but I think Ivan Toney will score some goals in this. I think he'll score a double, to be honest. What about you, Rob?
Scott, you literally took every word out of my mouth. I was going to say 3-2 with a double to Tony because I reckon he's going to get an England call up.
Okay. Okay. What about you, RJ?
I don't know, boys. I don't know. They're tough. They're a tough nut to crack at home.
At
They're
home
really
as
tough.
well. That's
That's
thing.
what I
At home,
mean.
they're
They
really
get
good.
up that atmosphere they've got at that stadium. Geez, they're a different beast when they play there. But you guys, Scott, you put them in a tough one here, mate. My gut does tell me Arsenal win. I do see both sides scoring, but I think it'll be 2-1, not 3-2.
All right. Okay. Yeah,
That would be nice, Emad.
It'll be a nice game, boys. You know what? Sunday night, maybe we get the crew together. Come round, gentlemen. Open invite to the stream. Anyone wants to come around, just be quiet. The baby will be asleep.
Or our black and yellow tops. Rob,
Yeah, that's
the
it.
bees.
Buzzing.
That's it.
Let's look at this one. Everton, West Ham to end. I won't even call it a round to end whatever this is. West Ham for me. I think Everton will fight, but West Ham should just nick it 2-1. What about you, RJ?
No, I don't think so, man. I'm not convinced with what West Ham are doing at the moment. I think ordinarily I'd agree with you, but Everton have been playing better. They have been. I'm not being super frank biased, but they've been unlucky. And I think at home, I think they're warming up. The new players are kicking in a bit. I think this could be their first win of the season. I could see this one being 2-1 to the Toffees, putting it out there.
Robbie?
Yeah, I am kind of leaning towards RJ's way. Hard brother draw, but yeah, they haven't got a win yet, have they, Everton?
No, draws and losses.
Yeah, you know, I will go for 2-1 to Everton. I agree. I think they're slowly getting a bit better defensively. That Gordon, he has been scoring a little bit more frequently. And like I said, West Ham have got that extra fixture tomorrow in the Conference League. So I'll go Toffees 2-1.
Okay, boys. We are almost at the end of the stream. We've got some quick fires to do before we bounce. And then we might mention, we have to mention the Europa games before we finish up too, don't we? Because you boys are playing. Robbie, do you want to quickly mention that before we quick fire?
Yeah, quick one. Terrible 2:45 tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
We go to Moldova. So first time in Moldova against Sheriff. And I'm actually a little nervous about this one. Sheriff did beat Real Madrid at the Bernabeu last season, so there's no pushover. We should get the job done, and especially considering we did lose our first game on match day 1, I was very disappointed in the result. But look, we really need to hit back because not getting 3 points here would be. I want to still top this group, put it that way. So the boys need to go there, and I think they'll play a pretty strong team considering that this is the last game before international break. Anyway, there's no. We've got our game obviously cancelled on the weekend, so yeah, the boys already. Our strong team haven't played since Arsenal, which was already over a week and a bit ago, and they're not going to play for the next 3 weeks. So I'd go all out, get some chemistry back in there, and hopefully get the 3 points.
Easy. All right. Well, before we get to some quick fires, we are on the road to 700 subs. We're not far. We are not far at all, boys. So make sure you've subbed if you haven't already. We want to get there. We're only 9 away. So make sure you get that done. Hit a like on the video. If you're watching this back, please comment below. Let us know what you think about any of the things we discussed or even about that All-Star game as well. But it's time for quick fires, boys. I'm going to keep it simple. I've only got one. I'm a bit of a gamer. Don't mind my video games. What's one game you have really fond memories of as a kid that you just enjoyed playing, maybe as an adult?
Oh, yeah. I'll go 2 quickly. On Super Nintendo, Donkey Kong. I still love it. And look, you can't.
Donkey Kong sucks. I had to say
Donkey Kong, mate. And Crash Bandicoot, mate, was always a banger. Obviously, I'm not going to put the FIFA in there. That's the obvious one. But Crash Bandicoot, love Crash Bandicoot.
Dun, 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 dun,
Andre?
dun, 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 dun. Yeah, I love the theme
Not
song for
theme
Crash
song, mate.
Bandicoot. Mate, it's Crash Bandicoot. Can't you guess anything anymore? Bloody Arsenal fans, yeah. Crash Bandicoot and the Mario Brothers, Fred. Not the kart, actually the adventure game of Mario Brothers.
Yeah, nice.
That's
Yeah,
a
Grand
good
Theft
one.
Auto, great shout, great shout.
Grand Theft Auto 3,
Um,
mate, and Grand Theft Auto 3 was king.
For me, I didn't know Tom likes rugby. That's
so
done,
good.
Tom, for me now. Tom's finished.
But
But
Hey,
Steve.
Scott, but what about the rugby league game? Did you guys ever play it on PlayStation? It was so rigged. All you do
I
is
had
get the ball to the fastest
yep.
player,
Run.
kick the ball upfield, and you score. Yeah, every time. It was
yeah,
great.
I had
Yeah.
the first one of that, Rugby League 1. I remember that.
Yeah.
There's a few good ones. Look, for me,
Tekken.
and I don't care. World of Warcraft was just probably the first game that I really went mental over. I think I took like 2 weeks off work when I first started playing World of Warcraft and just smashed that. It was almost like a second job. But that's a mental game, mental. But that's my quick fire, boys. Borche said he had some. I told him to chuck them in the chat. We can look at them potentially at the end. You got one, boys?
Yeah, I'll go quickly. While you bring up this kind of game mode, did you guys ever have a chip in your PlayStation? PlayStation 1? Chip or no chip?
I cannot confirm nor deny if I had a chip. Okay.
Yeah. No,
chip.
I didn't. No, I didn't get one from Fairfield Markets.
I didn't have a chip either with $10 games every week. I must have had about 300 games anyway.
Just like all the legitimate games you bought. Yes.
100%.
Yes, good.
No, look, my quick one, a random phase, boys. What was a random phase you thought, how did that come about? For instance, planking. Well, remember, was it planking that came out that time? That phase when everyone was just laying down?
Yeah,
planking with the
flat. Yeah.
What was the other one? The mannequin challenge, like any other
we
random
did
ones
that
you
at
remember
indoor.
that came out? Yeah, hard. All these random ones, like fair enough. The ones like the ice bucket challenge, I understand they're for like a cause and stuff. But any other random phases you can remember growing up? Doesn't have to be that. Can be anything, just any kind of phase.
Not growing up, but right now, I don't know where the mullets and man buns have come from. Like, I know, Robbie, you like the man bun, but mate, the mullets, they're just
The
bloody
mullets
everywhere.
just came out. I
Man,
feel
I'm
like
sick of mullets.
I feel like Poppenhausen and what's the Aussie fullback's name again? Ryan, what's his name? Sydney FC fullback. What's his name?
Ryan Grant.
Ryan Grant. I feel like him and Poppenhausen had him, and then just like the whole world just went into mullet mode or something.
Yeah, it's just mullets. RJ, you got one for that?
Yeah. What I don't like this phase of this whole social media cancel culture, mate. Honestly, everybody's trying to be so edgy with their takes. It's like just get over it, mate. Seriously, it's just doing my head in. I don't know.
Yeah, that whole idea of cancelling someone. I mean, it's easy to cancel someone. You literally just don't watch or listen to them. You don't need to use your energy getting thousands of people to do it. But no one will ever cancel us here because we're just three beautiful blokes.
I'm just too busy ratioing, whatever that means. But anyway, all good. Hey, my question. Yes, I do, and I'm inspired by your gaming one. So my quick fire question to you, gentlemen, is Street Fighter, Tekken, Mortal Kombat. Start one, bench one, sell one.
Oh, I like this.
Easy.
Okay, well,
Start one, Mortal Kombat. Bench one, Street Fighter. Sell Tekken.
Confident? That sounded confident.
Easy.
Too confident.
Yeah, I'm confident in mine. I'd sell Street Fighter. I'd start Mortal Kombat and bring Tekken off the bench.
I think I'd have to go to third one there. Start Street Fighter, bench Mortal Kombat, and things sub out Tekken. And I loved all of them. Tough one for me.
Mortal Kombat had the movies to back them up as well, mate.
Yeah, so good.
All right, there you go, boys. It's been fun. Borche, if you've got those guest of players, chuck them in the next few seconds or send them to me and I'll use them on Tuesday night stream. But we've covered tonight the Australia Cup. Go Bulls. We got the Bulls and Sydney United. We covered the Champions League action, the Premier League fixtures, the All-Star debate, It's all been there. It's been a big one. Make sure you go back, catch up on it all. But please subscribe, like, share, do all of those things. Until next time, the boys are out.
Yeah.